Chocolate is hands down one of America's favorite treats, rich, satisfying, and often seen as a little slice of happiness in a busy day. But here's something that might catch you off guard. Many popular chocolate products, especially dark chocolate, contain traces of heavy metals like lead and cadmium. This isn't some wild rumor. Independent tests, including those from Consumer Reports in recent years, have consistently found these contaminants in a wide range of brands, stemming from soil absorption and processing in the global cocoa supply chain. These metals don't cause obvious problems right away. They build up quietly over time, potentially straining your kidneys, raising blood pressure, and even affecting heart health or mental sharpness. The danger hits harder as we get older. For folks over 60, the body's ability to clear out these toxins slows down, making long-term exposure more likely to add up and cause real harm. It's a reminder that even our go-to comforts deserve a closer look. After spending over 10 years diving deep into the food industry as a nutrition professional, I've got to be straight with you. The chocolate we enjoy today isn't the same innocent treat most of us remember from back in the day. What used to be a simple pick-me-up tied to happy memories and little rewards has changed a lot, thanks to massive global supply chains, pressure to keep costs down, and cocoa beans coming from soils that naturally hold on to heavy metals. All that gets polished up with fancy packaging and premium vibes, making it easy to overlook what's really going on inside. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 everyday chocolate brands that independent tests have flagged for higher levels of lead and cadmium, metals that can build up over time and hit harder if you're over 60, when your body doesn't clear them out as easily. I'll also spotlight 5 standout brands that consistently test much lower and safer. And stick around to the end, because I'll walk you through some straightforward tips on picking and storing chocolate the smart way, so you can still treat yourself without the worry. But before we get there, let me ask you an uncomfortable question. How harmful could your favorite treat really be? Picture this: heading home after school as a kid, grabbing a classic Hershey's bar from the kitchen stash and taking that first melty bite that somehow made everything better. Or Halloween nights, digging through your pillowcase full of candy and hitting the jackpot with a pile of Reese's peanut butter cups. Chocolate was pure Americana back then, tied to family traditions, little celebrations, and that unbeatable sense of comfort and security. It felt like the one treat that would never let you down. That cozy ritual of enjoying a square of chocolate might feel completely harmless. After all, it's wrapped up in our happiest memories and daily treats. But what if those little indulgences are slowly adding up in ways that could hurt your health down the road? For a long time, we've heard nothing but good news about chocolate, especially the dark kind. It's great for your heart, sharpens your brain, packs powerful antioxidants, and might even help you live longer if you have a bit each day. You still see that message everywhere, from ads and magazine features to social media influencers pushing the latest bar. And honestly, some of those benefits are backed by real science, but only when the chocolate is high quality, low in contaminants, and eaten in true moderation. The truth is, chocolate can deliver those heart-friendly, brain-boosting benefits, but only when it's the real deal. High in actual cocoa, low in added sugar, and clean from contaminants or cheap fillers. We're not talking about the average dark bar you toss into your cart at the grocery store just because the label says so. Too many of those everyday favorites hide something far less appealing behind the fancy packaging. Measurable levels of heavy metals like lead and cadmium that no one would want showing up in their blood work. Back in late 2022, and again in follow-up tests, Consumer Reports put dozens of popular dark chocolate bars through rigorous lab analysis and found that a surprising number exceeded safe limits for these metals, some by double or more. Lead can mess with your brain function, fogging memory and focus while throwing off your heart's rhythm. Cadmium goes after your kidneys and bones, and it can take a toll on your liver too. What's especially worrying is this: once you hit 60 and beyond, your body isn't as good at flushing these toxins out, so they tend to stick around and build up over time. That's why these heavy metals are so sneaky. Unlike a bad reaction that hits you right away, lead and cadmium stick around in your body, building up quietly over months and years without any obvious signs until the damage adds up. Throw in the refined sugars, processed oils, and fake flavors that pack many bars. The stuff doctors often link to ongoing inflammation, stubborn belly fat, insulin problems, and even faster aging. And it's clear why that daily chocolate habit might not be as harmless as it seems. This isn't just about one sketchy brand or a single bad batch. It's baked into a massive industry that's happy to let us assume everything's fine. Fancy labels touting organic, fair trade, craft, or luxury are meant to make us feel good, but federally, companies aren't required to test for or list lead and cadmium levels. That leaves most of us enjoying our treats without the full story, and the whole thing just keeps rolling along. Junkier food often means more health problems down the line, which means more doctor visits and prescriptions, and bigger profits for big pharma. At the same time, insurance companies keep raking in those premiums while skimping on real preventive coverage. In a setup like this, keeping folks truly healthy isn't the main goal. Steady revenue is. That's why you can't count on giant food corporations to lay all the cards on the table about what's really in their products. Real transparency has to come from regular people, like nutrition experts and independent testers, who aren't afraid to dig in, ask tough questions, and share what they find. And it all starts with knowing exactly which chocolate brands are the ones you might want to steer clear of altogether. Before I go any further, if you find this topic meaningful, please leave a like, share this video, and drop a comment. Your support truly gives me the motivation to keep researching, speaking up, and building this channel for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Hershey's. When you think of chocolate in America, Hershey's is often the first name that comes to mind, the go-to brand for generations, tied to everything from childhood candy bars to holiday treats. It's always felt like a dependable classic, something wholesome and comforting you could count on. But independent lab tests have painted a different picture. Back in late 2022, Consumer Reports found that Hershey's Special Dark Mildly Sweet Chocolate Bar had lead levels hitting 265% of California's strict daily safety limit, along with elevated cadmium. These aren't toxins that your body flushes out quickly. They tend to linger and build up over time in places like your bones, liver, and brain, making the risks even greater for anyone over 60 when natural detox processes start to slow down. Research links ongoing lead exposure to issues like foggy thinking, memory problems, and heart concerns, while cadmium is tied to kidney strain and weaker bones. Hershey's kept their official response pretty low-key, basically pointing out that heavy metals occur naturally in the environment and that their products meet current federal guidelines. No big announcements about stepping up efforts to lower those levels or specific plans to make changes. For so many of us who grew up reaching for a Hershey's bar without a second thought, finding this out hits close to home. It's hard not to feel a little let down by a brand that's been part of our lives for so long. Number 2. R.M. Palmer. Those shiny red foil hearts you pick up for Valentine's Day look like the perfect way to say I love you. Sweet, thoughtful, and full of sentiment. But if they're from R.M. Palmer, that gesture might come with some unintended downsides. A lot of their holiday chocolates aren't even real chocolate in the classic sense. They're made with cocoa that's been treated with alkali, which wipes out most of the natural healthy compounds, and loaded with hydrogenated vegetable oils plus artificial flavors to keep costs low. Those hydrogenated oils aren't doing your heart any favors. They're linked to higher bad cholesterol, more inflammation throughout the body, and a bigger risk of cardiovascular issues over time. For anyone over 60, when the body is already a bit less resilient, even occasional treats like this can add an extra strain that builds up quietly. What feels like a loving tradition could end up being more of a hidden health compromise than a true indulgence. Number 3. Ghirardelli. A super high cacao percentage like 86% often feels like the healthiest pick. More intense flavor, fewer additives, and all those touted antioxidant perks. Ghirardelli's intense dark line has that premium vibe too, with its long-standing reputation for smooth, quality chocolate that's been a staple in American kitchens and gift bags forever. But even here, independent lab tests from Consumer Reports show it's not entirely free of concerns. Their analysis of the 86% cacao bar found detectable levels of lead and cadmium, though notably lower than many others, coming in well under California's strict safety thresholds for daily exposure. Still, these metals can accumulate over time with regular eating, putting extra strain on aging kidneys, bones, and brain health. And remember, no matter how elegant or upscale the wrapper looks, fancy packaging alone doesn't guarantee cleaner, toxin-free. Number 4. Theo Chocolate. Theo Chocolate has built a strong reputation for being organic, fair trade, and small batch crafted. The kind of brand that makes you feel good about splurging on a premium bar, knowing it's ethically sourced and better for the world. But independent tests tell a different story. Consumer Reports found that both the 70% and 85% dark varieties had levels of lead and cadmium higher than California's strict safety guidelines for daily exposure. On top of that, the company has faced class action lawsuits accusing it of not warning customers about these contaminants. Slapping an organic label on the package might ease your mind at checkout, but it doesn't do anything to block heavy metals picked up from the soil or supply chain. Number 5. Lindt Excellence. Lindt has that elegant Swiss vibe. Smooth, sophisticated, and the kind of chocolate you grab when you want to feel a little fancy or treat someone special. The Excellence line, with its high cocoa percentages and premium feel, seems like a step above the everyday stuff. But independent tests from Consumer Reports back in 2022 showed a different side. The 70% cocoa bar had cadmium levels over California's strict safety limit, around 116% of the max allowable dose for daily exposure, while the 85% cocoa version came in high for lead, up to 166%. That sparked class action lawsuits accusing the company of not being upfront with consumers about these contaminants in their marketing. What might get brushed off in court as just puffery, those glowing claims about being expertly crafted, doesn't feel so harmless when you're talking about metals that can build up over time, hitting older adults harder with risks to kidneys, bones, and overall vitality.
Number 6. Butterfinger. Butterfinger bars have that iconic, crispy, peanut buttery snap that takes so many of us straight back to childhood, Halloween hauls, movie theater snacks, or just a quick treat after school. It's easy to grab one and think you're getting a chocolate fix without much harm. But let's be real. Butterfinger isn't really chocolate in the way that delivers any meaningful benefits. The ingredient list is dominated by corn syrup, sugar, and partially hydrogenated oils, with cocoa making up less than 2% of the bar. For folks over 60 whose metabolism isn't as forgiving as it used to be, that heavy load of refined sugars and processed fats can quietly drive up inflammation, mess with insulin levels, and put extra strain on the liver. As much as we love the memories, nostalgia alone doesn't cancel out the long-term toll on your body. Number 7. See's Candies. There's something extra special about a box of See's candies. It's the kind of thoughtful gift grandkids love picking out for birthdays, holidays, or just because wrapped up in all that family love and sweet memories. For so many of us, handing over those classic chocolates feels like sharing a piece of tradition and affection. But even with all that heartfelt meaning, some See's products have shown up in independent tests with higher than ideal levels of heavy metals like lead and cadmium, and there's nothing on the packaging to flag it for consumers. As touching as the gesture is, those warm feelings alone can't shield your body from the quiet buildup of toxins over time. Number 8. Godiva. Godiva has that ultra-luxurious vibe. Gold boxes, silky ribbons, and a reputation for Belgian elegance that makes it the go-to gift for special occasions or a personal splurge when you want to feel indulgent. But a lot of the Godiva chocolate sold here in the States is actually made in a factory in Reading, Pennsylvania, and sometimes Turkey, not Belgium, even though the Belgium 1926 branding is front and center on packaging and marketing, which has sparked lawsuits accusing the company of misleading consumers about its origins. On top of that, independent tests from Consumer Reports found the signature dark chocolate 72% cacao bar with lead levels at about 146% of California's strict safety limit. As always, that steep price tag and beautiful presentation don't automatically mean better oversight on contaminants or full transparency. Number 9. Great value. We've all been tempted by those super affordable chocolate bars in the Walmart aisle. Great value stuff that lets you grab a quick sweet fix or stock up for the kids without breaking the bank. It feels like a smart, no-guilt choice when money's tight. But here's where it gets you in the long haul. These bars are usually packed with loads of cheap sugar, processed vegetable oils, and artificial flavors that add up to a recipe for trouble, fueling steady inflammation, throwing off your insulin response, and contributing to slower metabolism over time. That handful of dollars saved at the register might end up costing a whole lot more down the road in doctor's visits and health headaches. Number 10. Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are pure nostalgia in a wrapper, the ultimate Halloween score, movie night staple, or that perfect sweet-salty combo we've loved since we were kids. For most of us, grabbing one still brings back that carefree, happy feeling like nothing's changed. But as we get older, those same cups hit the body differently. They're loaded with sugar and partially hydrogenated oils, plus preservatives like TBHQ to keep them shelf-stable forever. Over time, that mix can add extra stress to your heart, liver, and even brain function, especially after 60, when your system isn't as quick to bounce back. What used to feel like a harmless little treat can start quietly working against you instead.
How to choose and store chocolate the right way. Picking a chocolate bar that's actually good for you isn't as straightforward as it looks these days. A lot of us figure that flashy packaging, a higher price tag, or a brand we've trusted forever pretty much guarantees it's safe and clean inside. But the hard truth? Great marketing doesn't keep heavy metals or junk ingredients out. Only smart choices about sourcing, ingredients, and real transparency can do that. Stick with me, and I'll show you exactly how to spot the winners and keep your favorite treat enjoyable without the hidden worries. The smartest move you can make in the chocolate aisle is flipping that bar over and scanning the ingredient list before anything else hits your cart. Look for cocoa mass, chocolate liquor, or cocoa butter right at the top. That's a solid sign you're dealing with real chocolate. If sugar is listed first, or if you spot stuff like hydrogenated oils, palm oil, artificial flavors, or a bunch of emulsifiers, just slide it back on the shelf. Those are candy bars in disguise, not the kind of chocolate that does your body any favors. One question I get all the time is, does that cocoa percentage on the front really make a difference? The short answer, yes, it matters. But it's only part of the story. Seeing 70%, 85%, or even 90% cocoa on the label can make a bar seem like the ultimate healthy choice, loaded with antioxidants and minimal junk. But that percentage alone doesn't tell you if it's truly safe. Even super high cacao chocolates can pick up heavy metals like lead and cadmium from the soil or processing, and some manufacturing steps can strip away those good-for-you flavonoids along the way. That's why the smartest picks come from companies that go the extra mile, true bean-to-bar makers who control the whole process, prioritize ethical and careful sourcing, and, best of all, share results from independent lab tests showing low heavy metal levels. If a brand dodges questions about their testing or won't back it up with data, that's a valid reason to pass and look elsewhere. This kind of careful shopping pays off even more once you're over 60, when your body isn't as efficient at clearing out toxins. Refined sugars and processed oils in lower quality bars might not cause instant issues, but they can quietly ramp up inflammation, pack on hard-to-lose belly fat, mess with blood sugar control, and speed up aging signs. Keep chocolate as an occasional joy, something to savor in moderation, rather than letting it become a sneaky everyday drag on your health. How to store chocolate properly, and why most people do it wrong. One of the biggest slip-ups folks make with chocolate is tossing it straight into the fridge for safekeeping. Fridges might feel like the perfect cool spot, but they're actually pretty humid, and that moisture pulls a sneaky trick called bloom, turning the surface white and streaky. It's not harmful to eat, but it totally dulls the rich flavor and smooth snap you love. Plus, your chocolate can start picking up weird smells from nearby stuff like leftover onions or strong coffee. The sweet spot for storing chocolate is a steady 59 to 65 degree off in a cool, dry cabinet away from sunlight and heat sources. If your kitchen runs warm and you really have to use the fridge, wrap the bar tightly in foil or plastic, then pop it into an airtight container to block out moisture and odors. That way, it stays fresh and tasting great when you're ready for a bite. Once you've cracked open a bar, always wrap any leftovers tightly in foil or tuck them into an airtight container to keep them fresh. If you spot those white streaks or a powdery look on the surface, don't freak out. It's almost always just bloom from temperature swings or moisture, and it's totally safe to eat, though the texture might be a bit off. On the flip side, if it starts smelling off, like sour, musty, or outright moldy, toss it without a second thought. At the end of the day, a truly great chocolate bar isn't just some cheap impulse buy. It's a smart little investment in feeling good and staying healthy over the long haul. Frequently asked questions, Q&A. Question 1. I've heard dark chocolate is good for heart health. How much should I eat, and should I eat it every day? Dark chocolate can support cardiovascular health, but only when consumed correctly. Chocolate with 70% cocoa or higher contains flavonoids, powerful antioxidants that improve blood flow, reduce blood pressure, and protect blood vessels. However, these benefits disappear if portions are excessive or if the chocolate contains too much sugar or poor quality fats. A reasonable serving is about 20-28 grams, roughly one small square, eaten 2 to 3 times per week. Eating dark chocolate every day is possible only if you are extremely disciplined with overall calories and sugar intake. For most people, especially those over 60, it is wiser to treat chocolate as an occasional pleasure, not a daily habit. Question 2. Does chocolate affect sleep, especially in older adults? Yes, it can. Dark chocolate contains caffeine and theobromine, both mild stimulants. While younger people may tolerate these compounds easily, older adults metabolize them more slowly. As a result, they can remain active in the bloodstream longer, leading to restlessness, a racing heart, and difficulty falling asleep. If you struggle with sleep, avoid chocolate after 4 p.m. If you do eat it later in the day, keep the portion very small and pay attention to how your body reacts. If you notice disrupted sleep, it is best to eliminate evening chocolate altogether. Question 3. I have type 2 diabetes. Can I still eat chocolate? Yes, but with strict guidelines. People with type 2 diabetes should choose chocolate with at least 70% cocoa, minimal sugar, and absolutely no corn syrup or hydrogenated oils. The ingredient list should be short and simple. Portion control is critical. Limit yourself to 1 or 2 small squares, preferably eaten after a balanced meal to reduce blood sugar spikes. Monitoring your blood glucose response is essential. Chocolate should never be eaten mindlessly or as an all-day snack. Chocolate is a treat, not a staple. Question 4. Is it safer to make chocolate at home? In many cases, yes. Homemade chocolate allows you to fully control ingredients and avoid refined sugars, industrial oils, and preservatives. Using cocoa butter, pure cocoa powder, and natural sweeteners like coconut sugar, honey, or stevia can produce a much cleaner product. However, homemade chocolate requires patience, proper storage, and temperature control, since it lacks commercial stabilizers. For older adults who enjoy cooking, this can be both a rewarding and health-conscious activity. For those who do not, choosing a trustworthy commercial brand remains a safer option. Question 5. Can chocolate really support memory and reduce the risk of dementia, or is that just marketing? This claim has some scientific basis, but it is often exaggerated. Certain flavonoids found in high-quality cocoa have been shown to improve blood flow to the brain and may support cognitive function over time. This can be particularly helpful for older adults. That said, chocolate is not medicine. It cannot compensate for poor sleep, smoking, lack of exercise, or chronic stress. If you already follow a healthy lifestyle, small amounts of high-quality dark chocolate may provide additional cognitive support. Used correctly, it can be both enjoyable and beneficial. Used carelessly, it becomes just another processed food. Question 6. So, how do you quickly tell if a chocolate bar is the real health-boosting kind or just candy playing dress up? Start by checking the ingredient list. The very first thing should be chocolate liquor, cocoa mass, or cocoa butter. That's your green light for authentic chocolate. Keep it simple. A short list is usually a great sign, but if sugar sneaks in at the top, or you spot red flags like hydrogenated oils, palm oil, artificial flavors, or a bunch of emulsifiers, put it back. That's not chocolate worth your time. It's basically candy in disguise. The best bars keep things transparent with minimal processing and clean, recognizable ingredients. Question 7. How much dark chocolate can you really enjoy without turning a good thing into a problem? And why does going overboard wipe out those heart and brain perks we've heard so much about? The key is keeping it moderate. Aim for about 20-30 grams, roughly 1 or 2 small squares, a couple times a week. That's plenty to get the flavonoid boost for better blood flow and sharper thinking, without loading up on extra sugar, calories, or caffeine-like stimulants. Eat too much too often, and those extras can counteract the positives, raising inflammation, messing with blood sugar, or adding strain on the heart, which hits harder as we get older. A little truly goes a long way when it comes to making chocolate work for you. Question 8. Can folks dealing with diabetes, heart issues, or trouble sleeping still sneak in some chocolate without regret? And if so, what's the safe way to do it? Absolutely, but it has to be done right and kept in check. Stick to bars that are at least 70% cacao, preferably higher, super low in added sugar, and made without any processed or hydrogenated oils. Keep portions tiny, just a square or 2, and it's smartest to enjoy them right after a meal when blood sugar spikes are less likely. If sleep is a struggle, skip chocolate in the late afternoon or evening because of the natural caffeine and theobromine that can keep you wired. Bottom line, chocolate stays on the okay list only when you treat it like an occasional controlled indulgence, not something you reach for every day. Question 9. Why does sticking chocolate in the fridge, something so many of us do without thinking, actually end up messing with its taste and even bumping up subtle health concerns? Fridges might seem like the perfect cool spot, but they're full of humidity and strong smells from leftovers, which chocolate soaks up like a sponge. That leads to off flavors, a gritty or waxy texture, and that harmless but ugly white bloom on the surface from fat or sugar crystals shifting around. It doesn't magically create new toxins, but it speeds up quality drop-off and makes it easier to eat chocolate that's gone stale or picked up weird tastes. Keep it instead in a cool, dry pantry spot around room temp, and you'll hold on to that rich flavor, smooth snap, and all the good stuff longer, safely and deliciously. Question 10. Can you still savor chocolate as one of life's little pleasures without quietly chipping away at your long-term health? And what's the easy way to make that happen? The answer is a big yes. You can keep chocolate in your life as a true treat by sticking to 3 straightforward rules. Pick bars with clean, simple ingredients, keep portions small, think 1 or 2 squares, and enjoy it mindfully, sitting down to really taste it, instead of absent-mindedly munching. Choose wisely and eat it occasionally, and that same chocolate can actually support better heart health and sharper thinking rather than work against you. It's all about staying informed and intentional, not giving it up altogether. Final thoughts. Chocolate truly is one of those small joys that can brighten any day. A couple of squares after dinner, a quiet pick-me-up in the afternoon, or that comforting bite when life gets hectic. It's more than just a treat. It's tied to memories, rewards, and moments of pure happiness. But because we love it so much, it's also one of the foods the industry can most easily take advantage of. Behind those glossy packages and tempting displays, heavy metals like lead and cadmium, processed oils, and loads of sugar often lurk without a single warning on the label. At the end of the day, big companies aren't going to look out for your long-term health. You've got to take that into your own hands. If you've stuck with me all the way through, chances are you'll never grab a chocolate bar quite the same way again. And honestly, that's a good thing. It means you're stepping into smarter, more mindful choices that let you still enjoy the pleasure without the hidden risks. Knowledge really is power when it comes to eating better. If any of this hit home for you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what kind of chocolate you're reaching for these days, and which everyday food you'd like me to dig into next. And if you want more straight talk about what's really in our food, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more truth out there waiting to be uncovered, and we're just getting started.